Welcome everyone to this week's Life Conversations with a Twist. I'm honored to have Arielle on. Her and I just met and she reached out and has this really cool product. And I was just telling her I love supporting other entrepreneurs, especially women, and hearing their journeys and how they get there and the hard work that we have to put in to be successful. So welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much, Heather. Honored to be here.
So tell everyone a little bit about who you are, where you live, and what you're doing in the world.
Cool. Yeah. So my name's Arielle. I live in Los Angeles. I have worked as an e-commerce consultant over the past decade, helping direct-to-consumer brands launch, manage, scale their websites, marketing efforts. And, I kind of fell into e-commerce in the corporate fashion world when my career started. This was before online shopping was big. So I kind of had this hunch like, oh, I feel like this department is going to like really become something. And I'm grateful I stuck around because obviously online shopping really took off. I was able to work my way up in the department, see how an online business was really built, functioned, and efficiently scaled. So, using all of that knowledge, I then incorporated myself. I kind of always had this itch to do my own thing. And I thought that by working as a contractor, it would kind of like scratch that itch. Turns out I went from working like a 9 to 5 to kind of like working like 24/7 because then I was just kind of always on. I had multiple projects. I was like working more than ever, which is fine, but still kind of had that urge to do my own thing. And I always thought, if I do something, I really want to solve a problem
Mhm.
for myself and for other women. So after, wearing pads and tampons for most of my life and hating those as menstrual options, I started to explore period underwear. These new brands were emerging, and I loved it as an option, but I still felt like the quality really wasn't there, the comfort, the materials were kind of, lackluster. So I started researching textiles and I was also like, you know what? I want to take advantage of the fact that I live in Los Angeles and I started driving around to manufacturers and different production facilities and I got connected with people who connected me to people. And I was like, I want to start trying to make my own period underwear. So that's what I did. I was in product development for 2 years with this product. The more I was learning about textiles, the more fascinated I became because I've learned, the importance of what we wear against our skin and how it impacts our health and how important that is. And especially as women, our menstrual products. So really proud of the materials that I landed on to make this product. And I launched the end of last year. And here we are.
And are you doing this full time?
Okay, I am still working full time consulting. This month, it is like what, August 1st, 4th, my gosh. It is now
Already.
August. And this is the first month that I'm like kind of scaling back a little bit. I still have part-time clients, but I'm like, you know what? I really want to give Flower Girl like an honest full-time effort. After, coming up on almost a year, and I'm finally in a good place after, having bootstrapped it to where I'm like, I have no debt. I just want to put all of my effort towards marketing now. So,
Oh my gosh, I have so many questions. I want to back up to e-commerce because what is that? Like, and give us some examples of somebody who you might work with or, who
yeah,
lives in that
yeah.
world.
Yeah, so I started in the fashion world at BCBG Max Azria, and e-commerce is online website marketing. So I did everything from merchandising, hands-on, editing product details, website banners, content building landing pages. I've worked with mainly fashion houses and then towards the end of, or not the end of my career, but over the past decade, I really, it's important for me from a marketing perspective to work with brands that I resonate with because I just believe to be like a really good marketer, you have to be able to tell the story really well and extract like what is a key value message for this brand, right? So I found myself working with more beauty and wellness brands. And this is when I started to get really educated on ingredients and the products that we use. And then going back to fashion and like understanding where clothing is produced, how it's produced, what textiles are being used. So, um, because all that information obviously translates over to the website. So, being in e-commerce, it really taught me to tell a good story, I would say, from a brand perspective.
You've really taken like health and beauty and fashion and like combined them into one.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I love that. Okay, so you had this idea. When you started, did you ever like use the product before you made your own product? Did you ever use it? I've actually never used, I'm a tampon girl
Okay. Okay.
because I think for me, and I want you to like squash this for me.
Yeah.
I think this way. I think I'm like, why I don't like pads essentially. It's because I'm like, I don't want to sit in like my blood, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
so
totally.
how does the underwear change from a pad and what's kind of the difference?
Yeah, so pads I think were so much worse because you are really just sitting in like wet plastic, right? So with period underwear, I did, like I said, a lot of the brands, I never found one that I really loved. So as I started to explore textiles more, I'm really proud of this fabric mill that I found in America where I source my three-layer gusset. So the gusset or the crotch area of the underwear is composed of three layers. So there's a top porous layer that also keeps you cool and dry, right? This fabric technology is like really incredible. And then there's a middle absorbent layer. Mine in particular is antimicrobial, antibacterial, meaning it prevents the growth of bacteria as well as odor. And then there's a bottom waterproof layer. Mine is completely made toxic free, unlike a lot of waterproof material that you'll find nowadays, that's just made with a lot of chemicals. And that obviously keeps the flow from like flowing out of the underwear. So those three layers together, the fabric technology just really is great for keeping you cool and dry. You don't feel like you're sitting in a wet diaper. It's really incredible, and that's why I advise women. I'm like just try one. Just start with one pair on a light to moderate day to get like comfortable with it because I can't tell you how many women I hear that feedback from, or they're scared, and I get it, right? Like we were raised with products that like keep our flow from flowing out of us. So, but I would never go back.
Okay.
Like, of course.
How do you have to like change is it like changing part way through the day or like can you wear it all day?
You can wear it for up to 8 hours.
Oh,
And
okay.
yeah, I mean, it's, totally dependent on your flow. Some feedback I get from a lot of women is that they have extremely heavy flows. We're all different, right? So, of course, like you can get a sense for like how long you can wear it for, but it is good for up to 8 hours. You can go out, have a full day in it, and not have to worry about changing a pad or like the same way that you like change a tampon.
What about swimming?
Okay, swimming is different. There are swim bottoms. I've got to tell you, I haven't tried them yet. I am not making them right now. I do get a lot of women who ask, like, are you gonna make swim? I have not, I'm focusing on this product first, but it exists and I'm fascinated by it, and I definitely want to try it because I can't wrap my head around how that works, but like
Yeah.
it does, it exists. So
Okay. I know. I feel like this is such a great product because, like, I have a teenager.
yeah,
She's actually had her period since she was 10. Poor thing.
yeah.
She doesn't use tampons yet. She's still using pads, but like, oh, like she wants to go swimming and then they feel uncomfortable about that, or like sports.
Yeah, yeah,
And so I think this is like such a great alternative for that. Do you have like a target market right now? Like, are you seeing like the same demographic of people, age of people buying your product?
yeah. I will say, I live in California and Los Angeles. It feels right now, the feedback I'm getting from women is like it's a little more of like a progressive product, right? I'm seeing more of like the urban cities. My friends are like, oh yeah, like I know, or women that I talk to are like, I know what that is, versus I'm from Florida and I have family back in Florida. And a lot of friends are like, what the heck is period underwear? I think that it's like still such a new product. And it's funny, like when people are like, who's your demographic? I'm like, women.
All of them?
But like there's so much education I'm seeing that needs to be done around the product still, and like explaining what it is and kind of like introducing it to women.
Hmm.
So I'm still trying to get a sense. for like who exactly, like what woman. But if I had to answer that question right now, I would probably say, more progressive, like women who are like in their late 20s, 30s, like who are, just looking for more of like a quality product to invest in. And I will say, it's definitely a pricier product than like going to the store and buying pads or tampons, but it's the it's top quality material like I just shared. And then it's good. It's tested to withstand 300 plus washes. So like you're gonna have
Oh,
this product for a while. I can't tell you the last time I went to the store and bought pads or tampons.
I know it is so annoying. Oh my gosh.
It's so annoying.
I want to go back to the product development, like what that looked like. But before I touch on that, obviously, like we all know that tampons are not great for our bodies and there's
Yes.
the toxic risks behind that. Did you have to do like a ton of research and to like figure that out? And can you like enlighten our listeners on why you should
Yeah.
be using tampons?
Yes, I would love to. So for me, like it truly was such a like energetic thing of like it never literally like sat right with me in my body. I was always like this, I don't like this. And news actually broke when I was in product development. Now this was back in 2024. The first study ever done on tampons came out. The first study ever. And tampons were invented in 1931 by a man, by the way. And nobody up until this point, it blows my mind, had ever tested to see like what was in them. So some top Ivy Leagues last year tested what was in tampons and found over 30 different toxic chemicals in all of the samples tested, organic and non-organic, right? So all of the like household name brands that we grew up with, which also, by the way, I found during my time researching this that the manufacturers of these brands aren't required to like legally put what's in the ingredients in the box, which like isn't really like a huge surprise to me, just knowing how messed up like our food system is and everything.
Right.
So there's that. And then the second study ever done on tampons actually came out this year. It was done in the UK and they found glyphosate, which is a toxic weed killer, at levels higher than, is legally permitted in the tampons that were tested. So, unfortunately, because tampons are like made of cotton, they're sprayed with these pesticides, and then women were inserting them into the most absorbent part of our bodies. Our vaginal wall is 10 times more absorbent than our skin. Anything that's inserted in there goes directly into our bloodstream, bypassing our body's natural detoxification system. So it's just like really sad to me that this is the case and these are the products that we've been given our whole lives. And much like women's health research, like which is massively like underfunded, and a lot of medical studies are unfortunately just done on like males' bodies, and then the information is put out and that's like Bible. So there really has not been a lot of research done on these products.
I mean, I have to say, and I know every woman this has probably happened to, like how many times have we forgotten it's in there?
Oh my God. And
And
then
it's
that
like three
too.
days
Yeah.
later, and you're like,
Yeah.
what?
What is,
Done.
yeah. Oh my God. That was another reason I'm like, I don't like it. Like, and when
Yeah.
I was wearing them like as a kid and like college, and then like you're out and yeah, exactly. Like you forget. And it's just like, no, I'm not doing that.
Okay, so what did product development look like? So, I love that you said that you source here in America because I was going to ask you if you
Yeah.
didn't, like what these tariffs is going to do to your business, but
Yeah.
you don't have to
Yeah.
worry about that.
I was so honestly excited. I was like, "Ooh, what like perfect timing to produce in LA in America and not have to like worry at all about what's going on." I do pay a premium to produce here, which I understand why people go overseas now. However, it's still worth it to me just because I got to be so hands-on with the product and like learn. So.
So you did 2 years and like, did you like, how does it even work? You go to these like material like manufacturers and like touch it, feel it, like what does that even
Yeah.
look like?
Yeah, it was a fun process. I tell people I went into it naively, thank God, because like it's so fragmented and there's so many parts to it. But again, fortunate to live in LA because yeah, I went to the LA Textile Show. I got to feel different types of fabric. I met a sales rep for one that I really liked in particular. So my best-selling styles are made of Tencel modal. Tencel is a fiber derived from trees. So it's extremely soft, it's extremely sustainable. So source the fabric, and then I went to different manufacturers, had conversations. I started producing samples, made sure the fit was perfected. And then, I was like, oh my God, I chose like a really technical product that like has to work. Like, I'm not just making like a t-shirt or even just like regular underwear. Like, this product has to work. So then once I that nailed like the fit, I was like, okay, I have to nail the function. So it was 2 years of literally like anytime I got my period, I was like, I have to like test this underwear. And like it got to the point where I was doing so many different iterations of the material used in the crotch, the gusset, that like I was literally like cutting up samples of fabric and like layering it to see like what works best. I made like over 100 different iterations of the pad itself until
You
I
personally
finally
did. Like you didn't have someone make it for you. You
I
personally
did, but then sampling is such an expensive process that I
are.
got to the point that I was like, I need to just like test this material. So, I was testing it, and then the final product, of course, like I did put it into a sample and like test it and everything. But yeah, it was like a crazy process of even like over the past 2 years when I'm traveling, I'm like, I need to take this like with me because it needs to be tested. So it was, yeah, it was
And you
amazing.
only have a certain time limit that you can
Right.
test.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Oh my gosh, I love that. So how many different like SKUs and styles and colors and like and then
Yeah.
how do you even choose all that?
I probably did way too many SKUs right now. It makes me like tired thinking about it. Like, I started with a thong. Okay, actually, my first style is a brief. There's a flower cutout brief, and then what I loved about these, and this was like my first idea, was it's underwear you could wear on and off your period. So I made reusable pads too, a single and a double layer, and you can insert these pads into the underwear when you're on your period. It has like a built-in pad holder, and then you can take it out and wear the underwear when you're not on your period. So I thought that that was like really clever, and they're great. I love them. If anyone has worn reusable pads, we're probably familiar. There's like a button closure on them, and but when you go to the bathroom, and even when you're wearing pads, your pad is like falling out or doing somersaults around your underwear. So I designed these so that they securely like stay in place. So I have those, and then I made a thong, which I'm really glad I did because women are loving this thong. It's got a built-in gusset. Um, it's great to just like for like to wear. You don't have to like put a pad in or out. And then because everybody loved the thong and the tensile material so much because it's so soft and sustainable, I made a brief and a little boxer short. And then I have each of those styles in three different colorways. So I just like did a lot for my first round of product.
So, because I'm not like into the product world, right? So, okay, you found your fabric person, you found your manufacturer, and then do they like bulk make a bunch and then you're just sitting on inventory, or is it custom to order, or like how do you figure that out?
Yeah, so mine, I do have minimums. This is another reason I was happy to produce in LA because the minimums here are much less than if you're going overseas. They typically want you to produce thousands of units. And that's typically why it's cheaper to produce overseas as well. So here I do have a minimum of 300 units per style, which is still a good amount. But yeah, so I house inventory as well, with my manufacturer, and then yeah, it's 300 units per style, which I was like happy to invest in and give this like product like a first go.
And then do you have a team that like ships them out and stuff?
Exactly. Yes. Yeah.
You're not doing it at your home right now.
I was. Yes.
Okay, yeah.
Yes.
I feel like anybody who has a product, that's like what they do until they're like, okay,
Yes.
I cannot do this physically anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
I
So.
love that. How can people find it and what can we do to support you?
Yes, so I am on Instagram. That's like my favorite social media outlet right now. And my handle is at flowergirl.co. underscore because like there's people squatting on all of the good
Yep.
names.
Yep.
And then my website is flowergirl.co. Yeah, if you send a DM to the Instagram, you're talking to me. So if you have any questions, if like you're hesitant to try, just reach out. I'm happy to share any more information about the product, how it's made, how fabulous it is. I've got, a ton of reviews on the website that I'm really proud of. Women are really loving this product. And my goal with it, is to not only get women to embrace free bleeding in their cycles, but it's a lot of education around our cycles as well. Cycle syncing has changed my life. It's something that we're not taught as women. Growing up, you literally like you get your period, you're handed a tampon, and like that's it. And for me, throughout this journey, learning how impacted we are by our cycles, how we are literally we have four different brains throughout the month because that's how much impact our hormones have on our bodies. And I truly believe when you're in tune with that and you recognize like what phase of the week, or I'm sorry, the month you're in, it's a game changer. And I just encourage women to embrace that in addition to, choosing the best possible menstrual option that supports your body. So
Do you do education around that then?
that's my goal with Flower Girl right now.
Okay.
That's a big reason that I felt really called to make this product in particular and to use podcasting as a medium for like telling the story because I like having these conversations. And again, I don't think it's something we're taught as women. And as somebody like who believes we're like the most intuitive beings on earth. And I feel like our society get distracts us so much from being in tune with ourselves that my big goal is to get us back in tune with our bodies through sharing this information.
Can you break down our five brains in the month? Like, do you like have that? Like,
Yeah, yeah. So our four brains, we have four cycles, right? So we're menstruating. That is when we're bleeding. After menstruation, we jumpstart over back into our follicular phase. Um, and then that's like, when our energy levels like peak again, we're creative. There's all these different like best practices for cycle syncing, like what you should eat, how you should work out, how you should schedule meetings and go about your day, right? Like women, so in addition to this site, because we're cyclical, we operate on a 28-day cycle. And granted, this is all give and take, right? So there's the 28 days, and like we're all a little different. So just understanding the general guideline, I say, is like best practice. So then after follicular, we go into, oh my gosh, I'm having like a total brain fart. Um, Menstruation, follicular, ovulation, duh, and then luteal. So those are the four phases. Um, Ovulation is, again, where like our bodies are peaking. And then luteal, I don't know if you've ever heard like the phase when, it's kind of like our body starts to like ramp down and you're a little more moody. Um, and
it's
then
usually the week I hate my husband.
there's that week when, typically we're called crazy. And that's the luteal phase. And then back into menstruation. Yeah. So that is like cycle syncing kind of in a nutshell. But yeah, that my goal is, to really educate women to understand what those cycles are. And, so I've heard, scientists have scanned our brains during these phases. And again, like there's four completely different brains depending on what phase we're in. So,
Do you use like an app or like how do you track it?
yeah,
And
I do not. However, there are apps. So while I can't say one that I would like recommend, I again, like
or
for
how do
me,
you track like, okay, this week I'm like in this zone and I'm gonna be super freaking creative. So I want
yeah.
to like make sure that I schedule creative things on that week or
I use my Google Calendar, my phone calendar, I look at that every night, every morning, that is my tracker. I calendar block. I'm a huge fan of calendar blocking, I think is what they call it. And so I will schedule out my day and then just knowing again, this is why I say use it as like a guide, you
Hmm.
know. Don't be so where I have an issue with like routines and certain like influencers, whatever, is like when people are so rigid about the things that they do, it's like you gotta have fun. You gotta, just like live your life. So I hate to be so like tied to my calendar. However, I am to the point where I'm like, I know what I am this week. I know what interviews I'm going to be scheduling, how I'm going to show up, like how I'm going to like create my social calendar. Um, but yeah, so using it as like a general guide, and then I'm like, oh, I'm gonna be like luteal this week. I'm definitely gonna like lighten up my load, probably not plan any meetings. So
You're like, go on vacation.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, go be by myself.
I love that. I mean, and I've been hearing more and more of that. I forget there was a podcast I listened to where they talked about that, and
Yeah.
well, you can like schedule your creativity around that, and like,
Yes.
here's the week that I should just hibernate because I'm probably going to scream at everybody, and it's always fun.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh my God, that's so great. I had a thought for you. Oh, something that like made me come to mind around like product is Shark Tank.
Yeah. Yeah.
Have you done it? Have you tried it? Are you going?
No, everybody says that. Everyone's like, you need to go on Shark Tank. Let me tell you, right now, admittedly, because I produce in LA, because I'm small batches still, I feel like they would eat me alive. I feel like they would look at my margins and they would be like, I mean, admittedly, I'm not a profitable business yet. Like I just invested in my first round of inventory this year. I know me and I know my goal with this brand, and I know I will be profitable and I'm going to make this money back. But I have not reached the point of scaling yet. And so I'm a little too afraid to go on there and then just be like, oh, honey, your margins. No, like, you're
You're like, I don't want that yet. Well,
yeah, not yet.
I'm always like, does a business need an investor? And at what point do they need an investor?
I had a lot of conversations about this because I was very curious myself, obviously. And the my takeaway, the advice that I got was if you can bootstrap it right now, bootstrap it.
Mhm.
And go improve product market fit before you're taking someone else's money, before you have to like answer to somebody else. Sure, it probably would have been more fun to like do all of this on someone else's dime if they would have let me, but like also then I like, I'm just someone who I would have had to pay them back. And like, I would stress out about living like that. So for me, I was like, I can bootstrap this right now. I want to like bet on myself. And I think it also helps to make you a little scrappier, if you will, and like, how am I going to market this on like a smaller budget? Like, let me get really creative here. So
Mhm.
that was my thought.
Well, and you probably learn so much. I mean, I'm sure, of course, you'll probably learn from an investor as well, especially someone like from Shark Tank. But
Yeah.
like, how do you learn how to grow and scale a business on your own? Like, and I feel like
Yeah.
that would be more rewarding than having to pay back an investor.
Exactly.
Mm,
Exactly.
mm,
Yeah.
love it. Oh, I had another question for you when you said that. Mm.
I would definitely apply to Shark Tank. Give me like I don't know what, 2, 3 years. And I think just like it's such fun brand awareness too, right? Like it sounds like so many families and people watch. So I would love to go on and give my spiel about the product.
Okay, that was my question for you. Do you have a lot of competition and what sets you apart from your competition?
Yeah, yeah. Look, I didn't invent period underwear. It's definitely a saturated market. However, what I went into it with the belief of how I could do this differently was one, I wanted to make product that felt really cute and comfortable and honestly like sexy. Like it's underwear, And when shopping the other brands, I was like, I don't really resonate with this marketing. I don't really love it either, if I'm being honest. So I wanted to do it and create like really beautiful content images and have like shoots that were like appealing. So for me, creating really cute styles was a big, differentiator, and I'm really proud of the cuts that we ended up with. Again, the fabric is what I think really sets us apart. The body of my underwear is made of a tensile modal, which is so soft and silky and luxurious feeling. And when I was in product development with this too, the two biggest brands in the market were hit with lawsuits for having PFAs, forever chemicals in the underwear. So again, it's just more menstrual products that
Mhm.
unfortunately weren't really being regulated. And having been in this process now, I've learned PFAs, which are these forever chemicals, they're everywhere. That unfortunately, there's not a lot of regulation you can do around this certain material. So I feel for those brands. However, you can't market your product as being like sustainable and non-toxic if you're mass producing and using synthetic materials. So that's something else that really sets us apart that I'm proud of, the sustainability message.
So good. I support you. I want to buy
Thank,
some because I
thank
do want to
you.
try it. I'm like, I hate being on my period and
Yeah.
all the things, but like if you can like wear something that's comfortable and sexy, like I'm here
Yeah.
for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what's next for you? Like what can we expect from you?
Awesome. Yeah. I mean, this is looking like what's next for at least the next, 4 or 5 years, I'd say, because e-commerce I've learned is like a long game.
Mhm.
And raising a brand too. I literally, when I talk to friends who have like business ideas and this and that, I'm always like, you better love your why, because you're going to be talking about like what is that why, that reason for a long time. And I literally am something else. I'm always like, I bet the house. Like I literally bet like any form of a down payment that I would have had on a house, like this is it now. So like I bet the house on this brand and this product. So my goal is to really focus on like doubling down, scaling this. Like I shared in the beginning, I'm finally in a place where I'm gonna give Flower Girl like a full-time effort, like starting now. So like I'm just gonna be shouting about this brand from the rooftops and educating women. And then also like the long-term goal, not hopefully not too long, but I would love to incorporate a lot of like mission-driven values into the brand. Period poverty is something that impacts a lot of women globally. And however, the next phase, I would love to figure out how I can kind of like perhaps incorporate like a one-for-one model. I've always been so inspired by like Tom's shoes for this brand. So
I love it.
that's
And I
kind
think
that's
that they always say like the younger generation, that's what they want. They want sustainability. They want to make sure like the product that they're doing has an impact and stuff. So I
yeah.
think like you're on that trail to do that. The one thing that I did want to mention that that was intriguing to me by your product is not only period, but you had talked about like if you pee a little bit, like
Yeah. Oh yeah.
it's good for that. And for somebody who's had 4 children out of my hoo-ha, like
Yes.
I sneeze
Yes.
and I pee. So
Yeah, yeah, I've gotten that feedback. So a lot of my friends are first-time moms. So as I was like creating this product, I really was I got a lot of insight into that world and postpartum. And my friends were trying it and they were giving me the same feedback. We had a vaginal birth and I have been unable to like get back into my routine because I'll go to Pilates and I'll like pee a little or something will happen. And I'm like, oh my God, like wear the underwear. And they love it. And I'm getting the most amazing feedback from moms, so much so that I'm also pulling these friends in to be like incorporating them as part of like the content and campaign, because I feel like that's something you don't really see a lot of in the marketing world for like incontinence. So totally tapping into that angle as well. And the product works great for that. Yes.
well, even
And
postpartum, I mean, they send you home with these freaking diapers of a thing
yep.
that you have to wear, and you're like, cool, like I just gave birth and now I have to wear this like ungolf like a diaper, literally.
Diaper. And
Yeah.
then another friend to that point, she shared, she was like, I feel like I healed so much quicker because I was wearing natural fibers versus like these synthetic materials by an area that is so insanely sensitive and just went through so much trauma. So that was like, those are some of like my favorite reviews that are on the website.
I love that. Well, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for putting a beautiful product out in the world for us women
Thank you, Heather.
and like being very like strategic and thoughtful because we need more people doing that kind of stuff in the product world. So thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing your platform with me. It was an honor.
Thank you.